energy forecast for Saturday, September 30th. So today we will see the moon in this Aries energy transition into Taurus energy. We have the moon going void, of course, at 5:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be locking into that Taurus energy at 9:19 p.m. So just remember, we're still very much in the full moon energy. And of course, the transition from the fiery energy of Aries, that initiating energy, that impulsive type of energy, into Taurus energy tends to kind of feel like we may hit a brick wall just a tad. Of course, that earth energy from Taurus wants to ground us out, wants us to be present in our physical bodies, wants us to connect with our physical realms. We really want to slow the pace in Taurus energy, where in the Aries energy, especially with the added layer of the full moon, we wanted to go, take action, make moves. We wanted to cut off the past. We wanted to jump into something new. And of course, we are kind of building towards that, but we're not there as of yet. Also keep in mind that today is the last day of September. So we have that, I'm going to say, intensity to kind of wrap up the life lessons that September was supposed to teach us. If you need to go back, listen to September's energy forecast, please do so. See where it is that you're at, how it is that you're in alignment with the energies at this particular point in the calendar. And this is also the last day of Mercury being in his post-retrograde shadow period. Of course, I have a whole rundown on what October is going to bring. Take a listen to that energy forecast, those zodiac forecasts coming at you as well. There's lots to cover. October is going to be the change that we have been, I'm going to say, patiently waiting for, although many of us don't have very much patience. But we're definitely going to see major changes, major transformations that we've been percolating on for a very long time. We have a very busy day in the cosmos with 14 different aspects, 10 of them going to involve the moon. The moon, while still in Aries energy, is going to come up to bump into, team up with Chiron, the wounded healer, who was retrograde in this Aries energy. I love this because it does illuminate where it is that we're making some improvements here, where we are seeing some growth, some progress in our inner realm, especially kind of closing the door on the old version of self, if you will, and creating a space for the new version of self, the new dreams, new goals, new aspirations of this new version of self to actually be anchored in. And so, Chiron being the wounded healer, of course, there is still illumination of the wounds. We're still in the full moon energy that needs to illuminate for us the blockages, the challenges, what it is within ourselves that's really kind of holding us back and preventing us from evolving and seeing the kind of growth that we want to see in ourselves. But for the most part, I think this is revelations. I think this is realizations. I think this is aha moments and epiphanies on where it is that we're kind of pivoting, if you will, away from some of the issues that we've been very much drowning in, and we're starting to see that air, that fog absolutely clear. So we love this for us. Now, Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, ruler of information communication and how it is that we express ourselves in his place of power in this Virgo energy, going to have an interaction with Mars. Mars, of course, the god of war, ruling over our physical energy, our drive, our passion, our desire, even our anger, who is in Libran energy, not his most favorable place to be in. Considering the fact that Mars is still kind of on his high horse, being the ruler of this full moon in Aries that we're still very much sitting in, this is a lot of pressure in the mental plane to kind of see where it is, focusing in on the old, on what was broken, on what we're attempting to kind of weed out of our lives, and therefore having a little bit more clarity on what is left, what is worth kind of pouring our time and energy into. And this is a spark of an idea. This is a new intensity where we're kind of reorienting our focus, if you will, on what it is that we want to build towards, what it is that we want to grow, what it is that we want to manifest, what it is that we need to say, where it is that we need to have these conversations. And of course, as we're kind of busting away from the confusion of the post-retrograde shadow period that Mercury's been in, we are going to gain more and more clarity on the path that we really want to start planning and strategizing to actually take. And again, Mars stuck in that Libra energy, the intellectual battlefield of having to sort out the pros and cons of all the different possibilities, different variables that we're currently percolating on. Yes, indecision is the name of the game in this Libran energy. However, coming out of the full moon in Aries, there should have been some kind of spark, some kind of change, whether it's coming out of excitement or anticipation or inspiration, or it's coming out of anger and frustration, doesn't really matter at this point. It's acting as a catalyst for change. And that's exactly what we're trying to kind of sort out and process in our inner realm. The moon in Aries energy going to sit across from directly oppose Mars. Now, this is a little bit tricky because, of course, Mars is ruling over the Aries energy that the moon is in. Mars in Libran energy is in his opposite, in his fall, in his detriment, if you will, his weakest position. And so the moon kind of sitting across from the ruler of the energy in which the moon is currently sitting in, this is intense, and it could go one of two ways. Again, we could feel this emotional cycle really push us into a new spark, a new idea, new passion, new desire, new inspiration, new motivation, new determination. Or we could feel that anger, that frustration, that semi-rage, if you will, where we just can't continue to do what it is that we've been doing. And therefore, through the process of elimination, we are coming closer and closer to making a decision. Again, Libra season, very indecisive. We are gathering the information and details that we're currently lacking in order to make an informed decision, but it ain't happening anytime soon. The moon is then going to interact with Mercury in such a way that is going to illuminate for us where it is that we're feeling the divide. And of course, the moon still very much in this Aries energy is all fired up, all riled up, ready for major change, for major action, for major initiation. But Mercury, who of course is still in his place of power in this Virgo energy, is like, whoa, okay, you can't just go ahead and jump into something new. You can't just go ahead and take action when we're not in a time of being supported to take action. What you need to do is slow the roll down and think about the smaller baby steps that need to kind of be strategized before you're going to see results for your time, for your energy, for the actions in which you want to take. So emotionally speaking, our heart space is in one place, our head space is in another place, and this particular interaction is going to illuminate the distance, the gap, and put us in a situation where we start to, again, tap into the Libra season energies and balance the scales in order for us to meet in the middle. The moon is then going to interact with Uranus. Of course, he is the great awakener. He's trying to kind of give us new insight, new perspectives, new understandings in order for us to make a dramatic change and realize where it is that we're resisting some changes being made, even though we know that they're absolutely necessary. Now, Uranus is retrograde in this Taurus energy, really giving us a bigger, broader perspective on where it is that we're kind of fixated, stuck, if you will, in the circumstances, in the realm, in the reality in which the old version of self has created. And therefore, this particular energy, this interaction, is going to illuminate for us where it is that we have to use that emotional fire energy from the moon in Aries to kind of burn through the connections, the cords that are keeping us very tied to the past, very stuck in the old ways, very stuck in the old version of self, very stuck in the old world. The moon is then going to trine, beautiful interaction, with Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, and money, who is trying to clear her post-retrograde shadow period in the heart and soul of the zodiac in this Leo energy. So we get a trine because the fire energy of Aries and the fire energy of Leo, they are working together. They're sister fire signs. The elements are working together in order to create a gentle nudge, a harmonization of emotionally realizing our wants, our needs, our desires, especially where relationships are concerned, especially in realizing that we're in a stage of redesigning, restructuring, rearranging our physical realm to kind of be more supportive, where happiness, pleasure, joy, safety, security, stability is concerned, because we're real and raw and vulnerable with ourselves when we're in alignment with our higher self, with our heart space, and we know exactly what we need to do to kind of clear out the aspects, in some cases, some people, that are preventing us from creating a realm that is safe and secure and looks good and feels good. The moon is then going to come up to, bump into the North Node in Aries energy. This is, let's say, the final seal needed in order to really close the door to the past, in order to initiate the path, the plan, the strategy to move forward. This is, again, North Node energy, trying to get us on the right path to reach our soul's mission, our soul's purpose, our soul's potential. And so coming out of this full moon in Aries, of course, we still need a little bit of time to actually realize what has been triggered and activated. But at the same time, we're putting a whole cycle behind us. And because of that, a whole brand new territory of uncharted land and experience is now opening up for us. So there is a lot of growth. There is a lot of, I'm going to say, progress in realizing what the first step needs to be in order to actually kind of create enough distance away from the things that we're moving away from and gaining a little bit more proximity to where it is that we now desire to be. Mercury is going to trine Uranus. Okay, so Mercury is the ruler of the mental plane, the lower level of our intellect. Uranus is the higher form of our intellect. What does that mean? Well, that Uranian energy connects us with the higher realms of intelligence. It's where we bring vision, downloads, aha moments, epiphanies into our crown. We're able to bring it down into the lower level of the intellect that Mercury rules over, apply logic and practicality to it, really kind of examine it. Again, Mercury being in Virgo energy, wants to kind of break it down, wants to see what it's made of, wants to see where it is that we can improve it, strengthen it, do something better to it. We're applying logic and practicality to come up with a plan and a strategy to actually incorporate how it is that we're going to bring some of these ideas, visions, and dreams to life. We have the trine because the Virgo energy that Mercury is in and the Taurus energy that Uranus is retrograde in, they're both earth signs. And so this is our physical realm. And the trine is a harmonization of these energies in order to see where a very small but very potent change and transformation is taking place. Not that it is kind of being focused on what we need to do, although there's still a list of things that we need to do, but we're actually starting to see in our physical realm the manifestation of some of the visions, some of the dreams, some of the highlights in which we're kind of percolating on. We're actually seeing the space be created for these things to actually come to life. And so what comes out of the higher form of intellect and the lower form of intellect kind of blending together is a true idea, a true inspiration, a true epiphany, where there are sparks just to kind of flying out of our crown, out of our head space, and we're starting to put into words within ourselves what it is that we're actually gaining from the higher realms of intelligence, what we're being guided to pursue, what our ideas actually are, and therefore putting us in a good situation where we're kind of preparing ourselves to articulate what it is that we're arriving at and realizing we're going to be able to communicate that with other people when given the opportunity to do so. And of course, as we jump into the first week of October and Mercury's on the move in Libra energy, we're definitely going to have opportunities to get a lot of things out of our physical body, off of our headspace, off of our chest. The moon is then going to interact with Neptune. Neptune is retrograde in his place of power in this Pisces energy. The whole point of Neptune being retrograde in Pisces energy is to show us where it is that we have to stop living in la la land and actually live in reality, address the issues that we have been running from and avoiding in order to clear that up so that we have a clear path to actually move forward. Now, Neptune is kind of working on bringing endings and closures to old chapters, of course, to old versions of self, to dissolving, if you will, the old form, the old version of self, the old realm, the old dream, the old vision, in order for us to confront what has changed, where it is that we're now at, and what it is that we want to conjure up for ourselves from here. Now, this is a beautiful interaction that's going to put us in a beautiful situation to have new inspiration, new motivations, new dreams, new passions, new desires actually be realized. We're gaining a lot of insight from our higher self, tapping into our emotional realm and our intuition. And that moon in Aries energy is the spark, the fire, the flame that needs to be ignited in order to bring some of these visions and dreams to life. So this is a good reminder on what it is that we're passionate about, what we're excited about, what we want to explore and dabble in from here, and actually get in the right mood and attitude to see it through. The last aspect that we have before the moon goes void, of course, the moon is still in Aries energy. We are jumping into the boxing ring. We're fighting it out with Pluto. So Pluto's the great transformer who is retrograde in Capricorn energy. Because he's retrograde and has been since May, this is the inner realm change and transformation that we have to do before we're prepared to take action, make moves, and be the creator, the designer, the rearranger of our physical realm when Pluto goes direct. Now, this is a conflict, a tension point, as a square always is. But what it does is highlight where the change and transformation is needing to take place first and foremost. And this is in our soul. This is in our spirit. This is in our mood. This is in our attitude. The moon in this Aries energy is tapping into this boldness, this bravery, this courage, this warrior type of spirit that we're really going to need to align with in order to move forward and kind of hack through the blockages, the obstacles that may stand in our way, preventing us from truly changing, truly evolving, which of course is what we're here to do. So this is going to be an intense energy where, we're sitting in our feels a little bit. There's a lot of maybe anger, frustration, irritation bubbling up to the surface, but that should just act as a roadmap to where it is that you've reached a breaking point, where it is that you no longer want to tolerate some situations, experiences, and circumstances, and therefore have an illumination on what needs to change within you before you can feel bold and brave and courageous enough to take the reins and change those particular aspects in your physical realm. So this is 5:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is when the moon is going to go void, of course. Now, just 9 minutes later, we have the sun in Libran energy making a positive interaction with Saturn, the Lord of Karma, who is retrograde in Pisces energy, trying to dissolve and deconstruct our old belief system. Address our fears, address our pain, address our trauma, really kind of help us dissolve the old structures, the old routines, the old version of self, the old realm in which we've created. This is an ending of a chapter as well. Saturn, of course, takes 30 years to go through all of the signs, so he's working very hard to kind of bring a 30-year chapter to a close. However, this is a good interaction, and thank goodness for it. The sun shining a bright light in this Libran energy where we have to kind of strike a balance, if you will, where we have to create a little bit of order out of the chaos, where it is that we have to kind of weigh the pros and cons. And Saturn is here to illuminate for us what it is that we've outgrown, what it is that we have to let go of, what it is that we have to kind of put to bed, put to rest, if you will, and open up the stage, open up the forum in order for us to boss up to new roles and responsibilities that, of course, come along with the karmic chapter that we just moved into with this equinox energy. So there is a little bit of seriousness, a little bit of somberness that Saturn always brings to the mix because he kind of does give us tough love life lessons in a lot of ways. He wants us to boss up. He wants us to mature. But at the same time, this is a positive interaction, and having the sun shine a bright light on where it is that, the scales are unbalanced in our lives because we're holding so tightly to the old and what it is that we've already created that we're actually blocking ourselves from creating the space in order for this new self, this new new dream, new desire to actually take form, to anchor in, to integrate. The moon, while void, but still in this Aries energy, it's going to make a positive interaction with Mercury, which is a very good thing. The moon is our heart space. Mercury is our head space. We haven't been on the same page. We weren't on the same page earlier in the day. We had a lot of energy really kind of, trigger and activate certain epiphanies, certain moods and attitudes within us. And now the moon is on the same page with Mercury. Our heart and our head are finally realizing where it is that we do have a spark, a fire, a flame that we want to cultivate, that we want to grow, that we want to pursue. Mercury being in this Virgo energy is looking to see how it is that we can bring these things to life, where we can bring it into form. So this is a good vibe for us right now to realize that, although probably a very small window in the day here, that we're actually in agreement with what it is that we want to pursue from here. This is at 9:19 p.m. Eastern Standard Time when the moon shifts into Taurus energy. Before we actually have an aspect with the moon in Taurus, the sun in Libra is going to make a not so nice aspect with Uranus. So Uranus is the great awakener who is retrograde in this Taurus energy. The sun, of course, in this Libran energy. Libra, Taurus, what do they have in common? Venus. Venus is their ruler. Where is Venus right now? She's still in her post-retrograde shadow period in this Leo energy, trying to build up her emotional strength in order to do the hard things that happen to be the right things in order for her to switch up, rearrange, redesign her physical realm according to her heart space. This particular interaction is going to bring in the confusion, going to bring in the indecision. Okay, so normally Uranus brings us a little bit of clarity. We get an aha moment, we get an epiphany, we have a change of mind. We see where a new path, a new possibility, new alternative is alive and well, but this is not the nicest aspect. This is not a supporting aspect. And realistically, We're going to be more confused than anything else. We're going to not be able to see the forest past the trees. We're going to be fixated on the problems because we're losing our confidence here. The moon went void. That's when uncertainty, instability, question periods come up. We locked into this moon in Taurus. We're trying to come out of the fire energy. We're trying to anchor in. And guess what? We become very aware, very present of our physical body, our physical form, the physical realm in which we're standing in. And we're just like, wow. Something feels off, something feels different. I don't understand what's happening here, right? So we have to sit in this confusion for a little minute. We do have the moon in Taurus sextiling, which is a beautiful interaction with Saturn, who again is retrograde in Pisces energy. We love Taurus and Pisces energy working together. Pisces energy is very imaginative, very creative, very dreamy, like very spiritual. Like we have a lot of vision, a lot of dreams, a lot of downloads, if you will. Our higher self is speaking to us very, very strongly through our intuition at this time. The Taurus energy, able to bring it into form, able to bring it into life. The moon and Saturn kind of, getting together, creating this aspect. Lucky for us, it's a positive one. This is like where we're kind of seeing the systems, the structures, the routines, the relationships, everything to do with our physical realm and our current circumstances from a different set of eyes. And now we're almost, I'm going to say semi-excited because I don't know what other word to use. I know many of us haven't been excited about much as of late, but there's this like anticipation. There's this little glimmer of excitement. We have little hopes and wishes and dreams bubbling up within us. We're finally starting to see where it is that a huge change and transformation is coming at us in our physical realm. We feel it. We're on the cusp of feeling a major, major change, and especially where our karma is concerned, because that's what Saturn's all about, and especially with the roles and responsibilities that we're now very aware of and need to kind of be let go of because we've outgrown them. We have nothing to learn left in them, and now we're preparing to kind of move on in all the best ways. So this is definitely restoring some of the faith, some of the clarity, some of the assurance, if you will, that we maybe lost when the moon shifted into this Taurus energy and the sun and Uranus came together in order to create a little bit of confusion, of course, setting the stage for clarity to start trickling in.